Yeah, so we're very excited. I mean, it's been a really great sort of year for us, and we've been talking about this for a while now. That cloud will become mainstream for us, and I think the industry and the analysts have been sort of predicting this. And while the initial set of sort of early adopters were companies which were either within the web commerce space and new startups, or companies which were established but again in the web commerce space, very sort of IT driven businesses, and it was very obvious for them to take on the cloud. I think we've now started seeing a whole lot of large enterprises adopt it in the last sort of fiscal year, and that's been a fantastic trend, and I see that trend sort of continuing, and that's why I said that cloud for us has now become sort of mainstream in India. And the reasons are very simple, because the promise of the cloud infrastructure or cloud applications holds in the fact that you are moving your investments from a standpoint of making it more operating expense oriented. Your entry and exit barriers into launching new services for your customers or for your employees internally are different. And so you don't have to spend lots of time in trying to analyze your requirements, in trying to select a vendor and then launch some of these products. You can do that very quickly because they're all sort of easy to demo, easy to sort of come online. And besides that, I think the demographics is sort of dictating it. And the demographics of both consumers as well as employees is changing in all sorts of companies, whether you're a large company or a small company. And as the adoption of mobility devices increases, as more younger players or individuals sort of come into the business or become customers, I think it's quite obvious that they would want those sort of modern applications that they connect with each other socially is something that they would like to see. Even when they're performing the business or doing business, and therefore it's sort of become a requirement that you got to do that. Yeah, so that's a good one. I think that the trend had started, I would say, a few years ago, when the businesses got more and more engaged and involved in decision making with regards to their own. So, we play in this space fairly aggressively, and we've seen that whenever there was an HR decision being taken, we saw the HR head of the business definitely participate in that discussion. If they were going to talk to us about an ERP product, then definitely the CFO and the CEOs were both involved, or the production managers were involved when they were supply chain. If it was a sales and a marketing discussion, then the sales and the marketing people got involved. And obviously the CIO is definitely in the middle of this, because they sort of end up becoming the execution arms of this. I think that trend was always there. I think what's also happening with some of these sort of cloud products is that there were certain domains where IT was not looking at it. And these were to do with sort of brand management, for example. And because the brand management used to be done by the brand manager with sort of advertising companies, if you want to call them those, or agencies. Now what's happened is, because it's IT driven, and a lot of it is sort of the agencies are going to do it, but you also have to do it yourself, because you're managing your own social presence internally. And the tools used to do these businesses are now IT. Now suddenly what's happening is that the expectation is that the CIO will be involved, and so will the brand person. So there is the boundaries between sort of where does IT stop and where does business take on have diminished. Now our view is that CIOs are still very, very important in the business, because at any given point in time you want sort of your brand and the social presence that you've created to still work with your HR systems, to still work with your CRM systems. All of these have to work with your existing sort of portfolio, and ultimately all of these systems have to sort of coexist and work together. The only way you can do that is if you have a chief technology officer or a chief information officer who can lay down as to how these interchanges are going to work. So while we are very big fans of sort of businesses being able to take their decisions and decide on what they want, products they want to buy, but we also believe that there's a very large role that the CIO has to play. And we work with both the constituents. We want to work with the business, we want to work with the CIO to explain to them that they have to lay down organization standards. They need to create sort of middleware glues through which you can glue all of these things together. Because ultimately, at the management level, if you're looking to get that information, how will you get that information if you don't have sort of these glues? Otherwise, you will sort of solve one problem by creating another problem of having cloud silos. And that's something that I don't think any organization should sort of go on and down under. Yeah. Yeah, so again, it's very interesting how sort of people have categorized in the past what mission critical is and what mission critical is not. To me, employee data is mission critical. Customer data is mission critical, and somehow people just sort of look at their ERP system and say this is mission critical for me. So for me, in a business, I think those are perhaps more critical than my sort of balance sheet and my data, right? And so it depends on which sort of angle you're looking at it from. So I would say they're all mission critical, and therefore businesses should be sort of concerned about how they're managing all of these sort of applications together. That's what I would say.